Hello, everyone. My name is Alexis Marin, and I'm a registered drama therapist, a life coach, and a speaker. And today I'm going to talk to you about some tips, life hacks, tools that when you need to have a conversation that you fear may cause some type of conflict, some different things that you can do to help yourself kind of get through that conversation a bit more smoothly. So I'm going to give you 3 different tips. So my first tip is the following. When you know that you have a conversation coming up that's giving you some type of anxiety, or you feel like the other person may not meet you with the same emotion or may not feel the same way on the topic, the very first thing that you can do is you can contract with that person how long you want to spend on the subject. So for example, you can say, hey, I'd really like to have a conversation with you today. Do you have half an hour available later today for us to talk? So that person could say yes. And you can set a time on your calendar for both of you to be prepared at 4 o'clock, and you know you're only going to spend half an hour inside of that conversation. The reason we do that is so that you don't end up spending an hour and a half spinning your wheels, over talking, and potentially exhausting yourselves on the subject. When your half an hour is up, if you feel like you have not gotten to a point of conclusion, you can then at that moment ask to extend, or you can say, it's been our half an hour time limit. How about we pick up this conversation at another time? So number 1, contracting for time. Number 2, if you noticed, when I asked the person for the conversation, I said, are you available for a conversation later today? That is one way of asking for consent for the conversation. Another way that you can say it is, I'd like to have a conversation with you later. Do you have space today? Do you have time today? Are you willing to having a conversation with me later today or later this week? Now, at this point in time, they don't know what the conversation's about. They may need to ask a question to get more information so that they can feel that they can give you consent clearly. And you can say, sure, I want to talk to you about how we do the chores around the house. I'd like to kind of set up a schedule for that. And they can consent to that. Or they have the choice to consent to a conversation that they don't know the topic about, and they're choosing not to know until the contracted time of your conversation. So number 1 is contract for time. Number 2 is ask for consent for the conversation. And number 3, when you are inside of the conversation, something that you can do is that you can self-soothe by putting pressure or heat to the part of the body that feels like holds conflict for you. So for example, for some people, when they feel that they are inside of conflict, feel like their neck really tenses up, or they feel like they cannot fully express their voice. So they will hold things back and kind of have this tension here. For other people, they may feel conflict in their chest. For other people, they may feel conflict in their gut. For others, it may be in your shoulders. So you can even just take a second together, if that other person is willing, to sort of create some heat in between your palms. To just do this for a little bit, a little kinetic energy, and then to place that heat on the place that feels like it needs to release. Now, I know that can be kind of an interesting or vulnerable thing to do with this other person, especially with more of a stranger or just an acquaintance, not somebody that you're really trying to have a lasting, long relationship with. But if it's with somebody that you really trust and you're really trying to kind of get through this conflict place, it's okay to take a little time out and to do that for yourself and to really just, put a little bit of pressure there, give yourself a break. You can even talk through it and see how that feels, or you can just say, hey, I need a little time out. Okay, so the 3 tips for how to talk through a conversation that may provide some type of conflict is to contract for time, to ask for consent, and then to create a little heat and a little pressure and a little self-soothing energy, and to place that on a part of your body that feels like it may need to be reminded to calm down. Because when you are in conflict, when anyone is in conflict, naturally what happens is our blood pressure rises, and that starts to heat everything up, and that starts to make us feel like there is an urgency that's not there. So that moment of touch and self-soothing will help with that physiological response as well of that blood pressure that feels like it's on the rise, and it will calm everything down. All right, I hope that these are helpful tips to you today. If you'd like more information, you can visit me on my website at www.alexismarin.com, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel here. Thank you for listening to my sound advice, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.